This is the first satsang done for quite a while, so it's nice to have everyone here once again. Thank you. Just for now, if you can just settle in and notice the sensations in your body. Just really take stock of what seems to be going on in the body, particularly from the throat down to behind the navel or even lower. Just bring full contact into what you're feeling. Notice the ever-present nature of these sensations. Notice the way the mind wants to interact and possibly label or contextualize these feelings, and just note that and let that thought drift. Feel. There's a variety there. Sometimes it can be a little bit more dense, but overall it tends to be quite dynamic. So for instance, right now I'm noticing a swirling sensation in the gut. Feels light, feels sweet, has a kindness and a warmth to it. And that sensation is spreading outwards seemingly to the arms and the hands. It feels like something is offering. Something wants to be given. And even though we're creating a little bit of a framework, it's just play, curiosity with feeling. Really doesn't have any meaning. It's just sensation, energy. Notice if there's anything that feels dense or wants to be resisted or rejected, and just make note of that too. Sometimes people will feel that in their chest or their throat or their solar plexus. Just take stock. Notice that trembling sensation, a vibration. See if you can notice how we seem to be getting closer the more still we become. We're just playing with allowance now. Invitation. Ask whatever it is that you notice to express itself entirely. Let the undercurrent of what you're feeling now be the basis of any questions that you ask. One of the most recent insights that have come to the surface is around the nature of commitment to our experience. At least right here, right now, see if you can allow yourself to be committed to what is just showing up, what's arising. Sometimes that might take a tone of risk. See if you can allow this environment to be a container for you to take that risk. Other times it'll take a tone of curiosity and play. That's also an invitation here. tune the senses. Start to bring attention into the periphery of what seems apparent in your experience. Notice that organic nature of how attention seems to work. It moves on its own. And just notice those thoughts as they arise. They're simply making suggestion. There's no requirement there. There's definitely something that feels like it could either be laughter or tears right now. It's like living on that edge all the time. Such a sense of gratitude. Thank all of you for coming and sharing in this way. And let us begin. If you have a question, you can just go ahead and raise the hand, and then we'll go piece by piece if that works for you. Go ahead, John.
Sorry, Jeff.
It's all good.
I raised my hand because I can feel an intensity of sensation. I just got off work, so there's a sense of kind of relief. And a sense of not really being able to articulate clearly what's being felt. So that's partially why I raised my hand. I can say that doubt has been a kind of prevailing characteristic of experience lately. Doubt around, I would say doubt around asking questions, like right now, and that a doubt that whatever answer I'm given, that my mind will twist it in some way, and that whatever answer is given won't be of help.
Understandable.
Yeah.
How about we play with it a little bit? Let's just start with this question in return. What is the nature of doubt? What do you notice about it? What is that?
There's a kind of, it's like an oscillation, I guess, is the first thing that comes to mind. Like in sensation, in thought, in sensation, in thought. And it's sort of in the jumping back and forth where experience feels clouded and uncertain.
That's good. That's what we want. Because in that oscillation is where you start to come into contact with intuition. And it pretty much will always take a tone of uncertainty just by nature. Between these two apparent objects, oscillation shows us something, that we are neither one nor nothing else. We're not in a place of contrast. We're somehow the attention in the space that is what seems to make up all things, all experience. It's really common, by the way, for people to want to resist that sense of oscillation because we get another fixation, and part of that is our fault or our responsibility as pointers, because we often point to sensation. And so when somebody realizes they're not very engaged with a feeling, then that there's a secondary reaction that tends to come up, a sense of judgment. But the reason we point to sensation is so that we start to break a fixation on thought itself and exclusivity in thought. That's all. But really, what we want you to do is stay in that oscillation, because it's not about one object or another object. even sensation can take a form of an object. But what it does is it helps us prevents us from becoming exclusive with something. That's all. And so, yeah, it's not going to feel comfortable usually to a mind because that mind wants some kind of clarity of thought. But that's the nature of identification as well. It wants to, it resorts to a feeling. When we identify, there's a feeling that seems to be there. And it knows that feeling well. It knows that sensory experience well. And if that particular framework isn't being met, or those conditions aren't being met, it tends to kind of create an alarm in the system of thought. And then what that really likes to do is trigger a whole bunch of reactions. But the oscillation, my friend, that is how engagement tends to start to look. Because we're not really intending to become fixated on anything. We're simply wanting to continue to step into this space, we could just call it that for now, of the unknown. That
Right.
uncertainty is the point, I promise.
Right. Right. Uh, not residing in one or the other,
That's right.
station or thought.
And, if you're going to reside in anything, of course, we like to point toward the attention of sensation because that's an intuition as well. That you will find that intuition is a sensory experience, it's something felt. It might not be a body sensation, but it is something that we are quite aware of. It is a powerful form of awareness. And you become more aware of that in the oscillation as well. Something here, even though there's nothing to grab a hold of. And so, what does the mind do? It wants to trigger another reaction that we call doubt. And all doubt is attempting to do is control something that is unknown. It wants an answer, it wants a conclusion. I want to remind you that that's okay. That's part of this. It's okay to let this get messy because anything that's unknown will look like chaos to a mind that thinks it knows something. Ultimately, we could put it this way: prove to yourself that even in the unknown, you are perfectly well, and you will start to see something. You will start to see more residual aspects of identity lingering, floating in the ether. Perfect. No wrong moves. If that sense of doubt or that sense of uncertainty makes you feel scared or pissed off, which can be a thing, that's okay too, because it's all showing you something. Just keep following those breadcrumbs. Commit to the experience entirely, whatever it shows you. And you'll start to notice that there's no need to engineer this. Somehow, elegantly, strangely, there's an intelligence showing us in every instant something. And we just say yes. And we commit.
Yeah, it's a fear. Fear. Yeah, I could feel a fear, a sense of fear of, especially in scanning, in observing sensation and delving into sensation. Uh, there's a clear recognition of that oscillation between the thought map of the body and where the sensation is taking place, and then when in sensation, there can be this sense of disorientation, like being off the map in a way, and
Yeah,
there's a fear accompanying that.
that's good.
So
I mean,
yeah,
I know it's not comfortable, but the benefit of this is it's really the experience of fear is alerting us to something. I would say what seems to be the case for most people is when we're feeling fear, it's flying in the face of being in control. That's it. It's literally showing you what you're made of. It's literally showing you the truth of your experience that all these controls that we attempt to force into play it's really the crux of our suffering. Because the majority, maybe all of our experiences, tough to say actually, but they're not within our control. There's no one here to control it. So, more acutely, what does that feel like? It has a signature. It's What does fear feel like? What is that? How close can you get to it? How often can you touch into it? Can you keep dipping your toes into the experience? And you will find that something starts to reconcile just by experiencing it. And it'll show how the thoughts are, it'll show what they're doing. It'll show how they tell on themselves because they start to struggle a little bit more the closer you get.
Yeah, the life circumstances are providing good conditions for this because my current work environment, it's new. I'm in a new workplace. There's a bit of social anxiety around meeting new people, kind of finding my space finding my feet in this new environment. And with that, and without lying to myself, there's just there can be moments of intense social anxiety
I love
that
it.
I've never really realized just how intense it could be until lately. So I'm just riding the wave. So thank you. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that's really good stuff right there because the more you're exposed to it, the less it will trigger reaction formations.
I've noticed a bit of that already. So yeah.
Of course you have.
Yeah. Great.
You're a master of your own existence. And, closer, more, deeper. Start saying hell yes when it shows up. Truly. Be willing to develop an entirely new relationship with this sensation. The thoughts are just secondary. It's just a feeling. It's alerting you to something. It's alerting you to the unknown. Of course, a new work environment. There's so many unknowns here. Good.
Yeah.
Congrats. I mean, that's what living feels like.
Yeah. Thank you.
It's good to see you, man.
You too.
Okay, Francisco.
Hey, Josh.
Hey.
It was a really warm ending. I feel it in my heart. Um, yeah, I've just been going through it like uh last few weeks especially. And that was what was coming up a bit during the body check-in, just like started in my face this like expression of disgust and there's like a lot of grief and anger that kind of oscillates back and forth with. And I have a story about it, like where it comes from in my upbringing and the experiences that I've had in life, but it's just like I just want to be done, I want to be done processing all of that. And it just the thing that was clearest during the check-in is that it's like there's like I resent having to feel all these things because it's not fucking fair.
Mm,
It's not fucking fair.
mm.
Mm. And even that's somehow enough just to acknowledge that.
Yeah, on a human level, just really directly, it's not.
Mm.
And here you are. I see wholeness.
Yeah. Here I am, and that's it. Ugh. Ah, so fucked up.
Mm, mm, mm,
Yeah.
mm.
Mm. I literally, I go through like I've gone through multiple towels this week, just like sobbing and spitting, and it's fucking like what?
Mm.
I
Yeah,
didn't fucking do anything to warrant that. Like I'm not like I have a good life by a lot of conditions, and so it's just like where the fuck do all these feelings come from? It's like there's no the answer doesn't matter, but it's just it's like there's a like that's where the injustice
yeah.
it's just like fuck this. Ugh.
That is, that's the voice. That's the voice of the shadow. It's so damn honest. What you're expressing right now.
Yeah.
I could say it was very much like that. Why me? Fuck this. I don't want this. Anything but this. Please, God. Somebody help me. Somebody love me, please. Wrap me up. Take me away. I don't want to feel this. This is too much. It's so understandable. And the best I can do for you here is ask you to commit to your own experience as fully as you can. And it sounds like you are. It's just a reminder. Just you were primed. Maybe this is exactly what the flower feels before it blooms. Maybe this
Mm,
is what it feels like to emerge from a chrysalis when you're a butterfly. If we remove the context, it's just a lot of feeling. Prove to
mm,
yourself that you're designed for this. Show that you feel it all the way and you are perfectly intact. It shows you something. It shows you what you're made of.
mm, mm,
And yes, it's very human at this point and still somehow mysterious and spiritual. Even if it's not revealing itself that way now, this is the game of peekaboo that we play. And to be honest with you, I feel this just overwhelming desire to give you a hug. I just want to hug you. I want to just cry with you. Truly.
Thank you, brother.
And it's not to soothe anything. It's just because I see you. Like I commend your courage for showing up in this way. It, it's a powerful example for everyone here.
Mm,
And for a lot of us that have been in that space, thank you
mm. You're welcome.
for being here
And
like that.
thank you.
Says a lot.
Mm, mm,
How far can you go? Notice the little ways that you're attempting to fix it and don't. More still, closer.
mm,
All I got to say is I cried so hard so many times that I didn't think I was ever going to breathe another breath because it was squeezing that hard. And still seems like there's something here.
yeah, I definitely like I want to know when it's gonna be over, but it doesn't that is the withdrawal and like doesn't ultimately mean anything.
That was one of the number one thoughts that would not leave. When will this ever end?
No.
And there was a point, I don't know what it was, I don't know how it came to be, but I didn't care anymore.
Mm,
And you might find that that is also laughter. It seems like you're experiencing that too. But the
mm,
what's the difference between crying and laughing? I actually cannot tell the difference. It's always here, but it's shown up as smiles and laughter a lot more. It's expressed a little differently for a long time.
mm.
But the feeling is kind of the same.
Yeah. I mean, for me, there's a definite density in my
Sure,
gut,
no doubt.
and that probably has a lot to do with the context.
But that also tells me something because this is one of
Mm,
the most universal experiences I've found. You know, up to this point, I've done over 3,000 one-on-ones, and it seems to live in the
mm,
gut. This is
mm,
something we share. So you're not off the path at all. You're just deeply heading to the center of that singularity. And when Dogen says to study the
mm,
Buddhist way is to study the self, and to study the self is to forget the self, and to forget the self is to be actualized in the myriad of ways. This is exactly what he's talking about when he says the self. This is it.
yeah.
And we don't need to use any fancy language. We don't need to go ultra non-dual.
Nope.
This is exactly where all the pointings go, my friend. Find out what you're made of. You will shock any identity that perceives limitations. I promise you that. And just a gentle reminder too, don't do
Mm,
anything. Don't do anything. The mind's going to propose a whole bunch of solutions, and usually they're not very flattering because a desperate mind is a desperate mind.
mm,
It can propose a whole bunch of really radical ways to get out of this, but there's no getting out of this. You're just coming into wholeness. It's just being misconstrued right now. That's all.
mm, mm,
I see you.
mm. Yeah, me too. Thank you.
Good to see you.
Thank you.
Let's go, Paul.
Hi, Josh. Hi, everyone. And Francesco, I hear you from the other side of the globe. So that really resonates. And
Mm.
yeah, come here trying to better myself, but I realize, just show up and yeah. So you said something, Josh, about there's something still here. There's something still, to be done. And yet don't do anything. So I'm in a bit of a bind between this bit to be done and nothing to be done. So,
Can
and I
you
think part of, yeah, go ahead.
can you feel your heartbeat?
Yeah.
Something still here, no one doing it.
Uh-huh.
Where that seems to be obvious in your experience, just keep bringing attention there, and it tends to propose breadcrumbs, so to speak.
Hmm. Okay.
You might start to notice how ubiquitous that experience is.
Hmm.
Something, but didn't seem to be any precursor to that. No one, no one came up with it. It just something. That's something I see in you as a creative being, by the way.
Hmm.
Before the ownership of creativity, you were just a powerful instrument. This can be hard for the mind because the mind is very fixated on having a sense of ownership of experience. What we don't often realize is that sense of free will that we really invest in is also a trap because it makes us responsible for all of the things we cannot control. And somehow that leads to a sense of suffering. But to be feather in the wind, we discover the true nature of freedom. Just
Mhm.
riding the wave.
Right. Yep. And so the heartbeat is like a conduit to whatever.
I see it. That
Mhm.
heart energy, but also just the
Mhm.
physical sensation, what seems to be going on. You're not making that happen. You're not beating that heart.
Mhm. Cool. Why do I misconstrue my humanness then as getting in the way? A bit like Francisco. I just want to sort of just be unlimited, and yet I feel like this is actually a bit of a limitation.
Well, I guess there's two ways to kind of play with that. One, the mind might have a sense of what unlimited is and somehow beg us to create that imagined sense of unlimited experience. That could be one thing. Another piece
Mhm.
of that is in the just the really direct, immediate aspects of what it is to be human. We find it doesn't actually fit the framework of what we think it is. Like I said, still seems to be something here, but still can't be sure. There aren't a lot of conclusions or certainties around that because it's so flexible, it's so adaptable, it's so ever changing. Maybe you can notice where those moments come up where there's an opportunity, the conditions arise to give you an opportunity for something more open or flexible or immediate, and where the mind comes in to interject to force a context, to force a context of Paul. Well, Paul wouldn't hug an absolute stranger, says the mind, something like that. So,
Mhm.
what we start kind of playing with is, I'm going to do it anyway.
Mhm.
And you will start to sense the essence of freedom here. The mind is just attempting to arbitrate your experiences. It's actually innocent. It's doing the best it can. It just doesn't have the breadth that it thinks it has. So,
Nice.
in that humanness, whatever seems obvious, invest fully into that. It will take you the same place. And if that feels limited, if it feels like you feel small or inadequate or lacking, that's the pointing. Prove it. Prove that that's true. And what you'll find
Okay.
is in the midst of all the lacking, something infinite. Now that's interesting.
Mhm. Yeah, that's nice. That's nice. Yes. So that pointing me to vulnerability and not having to. I think one thing about being creative is that you think, you need to prove yourself. You need to keep proving yourself, and do another great show or something like that. But it just feels like when I was a kid, I didn't actually prove myself. I think just putting the play first, putting the hug first,
I
that
love it.
seems like a good way to go. Yeah.
And just to recontextualize that in a way, you're attempting to prove that you're not lacking. You're attempting to prove that
Mhm.
you prove your value. But that has to assume that you're lacking value if you're proving a value.
Mhm. Mhm.
And so you can take the same essence of that energy of proving something, but turn it more inwardly, so to speak. Prove that you can't handle what you're experiencing because it predicates itself on a sensation, a feeling. Seems like every human motivation seems to base itself on a feeling. Well, now you get to ask, do I have to? It's a really powerful way to engage.
Prove to myself I don't need to act on a feeling. Is that what you said? Didn't
Essentially,
quite get it. Okay, cool.
that's
Sounds dangerous.
that's the essence of stillness.
Hmm.
And start with what seems like small stakes experiences.
Right.
to build your relationship, so to speak. And what you'll find is sensations are sensations. They don't require anything. Emotions
Mhm.
are emotions. They're just labels and contexts built around sensations. This is not to eliminate our experience of emotions either, but to see the actual nature of what an emotion is. It's a contextualized sensation that is actually predicted or preferenced before we experience it. And so we're still missing information most of the time when we say, I feel sad, and we don't actually dive deeper into that experience. We tend not to actually experience that entirely. We experience the modeling of that sensation. So get to know the sensations that themselves as much as the emotion. Go closer.
Mhm. All right, cool. Thank you. What resonated deeply was when you said that I don't, that I'm before proof. I don't need to validate what I offer. So that just simplified things greatly. So thank you.
Your heartbeat itself is evidence of your wholeness.
Mhm.
Seems like
Cool.
everything's working.
So far, so good. Yeah. Well, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, man. Good to see you.
Cool. You too. Cheers.
Oh, Rachel.
Okay, I know I'm gonna get like emotional because I've been like emotional everybody share. I'm like, I don't want to be, but it's already happening. Um, I have like a belief that I know is like holding me back, that like comes up a lot that I don't even agree with anymore. Um, but it's like still super embodied. And it like expands to like not just this specific situation, it's just really concentrated in one specific situation, but it kind of echoes like a belief of like self-worth and like all that sort of like stuff. And I had a horse, like it's been like 5 years now, and he had an injury. He was young and like he was like my best friend. Like I'm not like very social. So I really bonded with him, and he had this really bad injury and it was misdiagnosed, and he had surgery. He ended up I had to put him down. And so like there's a few details in this story where like I feel like I could have, like I work in human medicine and I'm like I should have been able to see this. I should have taken him to get new shoes sooner. I should have like questioned this. Like somehow this like becomes something I did bad. And it's been like 5 years and like I know it's John, like it's the past. Like I know the past is a graveyard. Like I'm conceptually know that. But the pain is like I still have a lot of dreams about him, and like where in the dreams he's always like, I think he's alive, but he's really dead. And I don't know if it's just grieving or like, I mean, I guess like yesterday I was just like, I'm gonna just try this like inquiry into a belief sort of thing. And I was just like, wasn't my fault he died, you know? And I don't know, I'm just holding like so much around that, and like it kind of goes into like my OCD and like harm stuff and worried I hurt someone, and even like conversations with people I'm spinning after like did I say something rude or hurt someone's feelings, and it's like there's so much like stuff around this, and I know that like it's gotten like a really like out of control, you know, like um and I know it's not functional or helpful, and but why? I mean, that's not really the question, I guess. Why is it still there? It's just like how do I like break this or something? Like,
Yeah, you're already making so many pretty profound pointings of your own, and just in the way you're sharing. But why don't we start with this? What if I took the definition of compassion and I just simplified it into say, compassion is simply saying yes or simply being with what is exactly as it is, with no extra, with no added context. This is just the way it is. And then that right there gives us a little bit of stillness. And then you can start to explore a little further. And you could look at the nature of the things that the mind wants us to do so that we can stay compassionate. All that's doing is keeping us away from something as it is. So it's crazy, but the pursuit of being compassionate makes us less compassionate because it's predicating on some sense of lacking, that you must not be compassionate. But this is a practice in wholeness, and to realize you're whole regardless of what the circumstances seem to be will leave you with a feeling that it sounds like you're already kind of digging into, and it's just grief. You're still grieving. Don't fix it. That's what wholeness feels like. Human beings were really good at becoming short-sighted with this identity. If you were to stand out in the middle of the great salt flats, you might have the impression that the entire universe is a big, flat, white plane. But if we zoom out, we start to see that that's just one tiny aspect on an infinitely sided sphere. Same thing with grief. We don't often recognize it, but grief is the long form experience of love. That's what it is. It is love. We don't get to split love in half. We don't want just part of our love anyway. We want it all. It seems to be what we're doing here. And so to allow yourself to completely grieve without attempting to fix it or find answers or solutions, you will start to have like profound insight about this. It's okay to keep grieving. It's not about ending the grief anyway. All you're really saying is, I still love deeply. Of course you do. You don't need to prove that. This is the nature of integrity. We know what our truth is ultimately. It's really obvious. It's inside of us. We're made of it. Sit with your truth. You don't need to prove how compassionate you are.
I think it's like last night, and maybe this is like kind of my OCD, but like last night it's like after 5 fucking years, I'm like looking up like, okay, like when did the vet come? Did I do a recheck soon enough? Like I'm getting it, like my mind wants to like
Yes,
relieve myself.
there is no relief. We don't want relief.
Like,
Relief is disassociation. We want to live all the way. And I promise you, there is this sweet spot. I don't know how to describe it, but you're feeling all the time, and you're feeling intensely all the time, but it doesn't reach the perception of overwhelm all the time. It seems
yeah.
perfectly placed. So what your mind is attempting to do is to tamp that energy space down. You're feeling an arising feeling, and what it does is starts looking desperately for solutions. Don't participate. You're going to feel it even more if you don't participate. That's the point. And if you have to, titrate. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to jump right off the edge of the cliff immediately. Pick and choose every once in a while. Just, okay, I'm not gonna, my mind, I really need to satisfy this need to look something up. Don't. And it might make you feel a lot of intensity and you might start to cry, whatever. It's, it's pretty elegant the way the system seems to work. It's intuitive. It's already guiding you. And then also please watch the secondary judgments, because then there's another thought that comes in that creates a tertiary secondary judgment about what you're doing. That's another way to get you away from something. Anything but this. Anything
Well,
but this.
I already know those thoughts. It's like, it's been so long, why are you still feeling this way? You know? Or like the favorite one that everybody feels like, when is this gonna end? You know, like
What if it never ended? I mean, truly though, does it need to? I think that assumption it lives in the forefront of most of our experiences as human beings. I need this to be over with. That's what kicks our ass. We are
yeah.
not the arbiters of this experience. It is as it is. But can you be with it anyway? That's what compassion is. For now, we could just call it self-compassion. I don't want to conflate too much with the word self, but for now, it just makes the most sense. It's the easiest way to put it into language. Be compassionate for yourself by being with it entirely. Prove what you're made of. You're already doing it. The mind wants to keep you in limbo. Not all the way, because I know my limits. I know what I'm in control of. But as soon as you reach the outer um, threshold of that experience, it can feel extreme. You will start to step into complete unknown territory. And that's what this is all about. That's where freedom is met, in the unknown. That's where we experience joy, in the unknown. It's available for you in the midst of all this stuff that seems heavy and hard, I promise. But man, there's a lot of deterrence. The system's a pain in the ass, no doubt. Because it seems so counterintuitive to dive into these feelings that we have preferences around. But in doing so, it will eliminate your system of preference around sensation. And to do that, you will find freedom, because you won't predicate any behavior off of a feeling anymore. It will just be pure intuition. It burns all that away. Until then, what happens? The mind will continue to co opt sensations as a method to get us to do its bidding. It's very strange. It's not really insidious or evil, but it can appear that way.
That's where I'm like, I see it doesn't make sense to like figure this out. Like, this is already done. He's dead. Figuring it out wouldn't change anything, you
It
know?
you have more grieving to get into. That's okay. Grieving can come up for anything, anytime. That's what love feels like. What's wrong with that?
Yeah.
You have full permission if that's what you need. Let it let it destroy what you think you are. It'll burn everything away. Just the intensity of feeling will somehow cleans house. I don't know how else to put it. Does seem to be the literal metaphor of the Buddha's fire, to just burn in temptation and desire and just allow it to burn all the way through without moving an inch, without twitching. We ever really need on this path is that first glimpse that there's no one here, no one doing anything. And then, as the human, this strange paradox of this demigod experience of what it seems to be as a human being, we see that there are no consequences. That's freedom. There's no consequences. If the ultimate consequence is death, and we realize death doesn't exist in the way that we think it does, then we are free. I don't even have to say this to attempt to soften anything for you, but I already know that you care deeply for your friend. Can you know that too without fixing it? Can you just be okay that you did everything that you could, that the circumstances were what they were, and there was no other option? Feel that. Hmm. Yeah. I admire your courage. I feel it with you. Truly. Without even having an object in thought, I can just feel like I can feel that. I can feel what you're feeling. Please commit entirely as often as you can. Just to getting into it, just like you did. I saw you dip in pretty well right there. How far can you go? You're going to be okay. This is how you discover your wellness.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I really thank you. I mean, geez, thank you. Powerful examples. Juicy. Thank you.
Thanks.
Wow, man, this satsang is happening today. Woo. Thank you all. Man, why don't we just keep it going? Do you feel the momentum? Who wants to jump in? We're tapping into something.
I guess I could jump in.
You are
I
jumping.
just did it. Thank you very much for that, Rachel. That strike the chord, because it was very relatable immediately with the comments about, hey, there's grief, death, and what's very present, horses, because that's a big connection piece for me. I've been around horses for a very long time. I don't ride anymore, but I was a 3-day eventer at a high level. And it basically saved my life as a teenager because of, I don't know how to frame it. It's, as a dyslexic, so there is a neurodivergent aspect and a genetic one that only occurs during puberty. So there was self-isolation that you're very, like 1 in 30,000 males, right, have this. So it's very rare. We're rare in that sense, particularly if you grow up out in the country. But at some point, I had more distance from humans, so I could easily dissociate. So it was safer to be in nature with and with animals. The funny thing how all this has gone for me was that I've become a teacher and coach, and I've learned, like, I can feel it tapping right in now. It's very hard to be doing this in front of people and to be seen. And I've done a lot of work around it. I've worked a lot with compassion inquiry. It was developed by Gabor Mate. And to be able to talk about this openly has been a challenge. So I can feel what's going on in the body. And what's coming up for me was immediately as it started with Francisco, was if people know Frank Hubert's Dune, there's the quote about fear. Fear is the mind killer, and you step into it to obliterate. Like, this is very present for me. Like, I'm in this whole satsang right now, and I can feel me passing through it right now. Like, the body is just in pure vibration mode. It is, yeah, it's just doing its thing. And I got this quote from Gabor, which has been very powerful for me. And it was, it's a joy to be hidden, but a tragedy not to be found. I could literally put that on my own tombstone. Like, that defines me.
I love it. That's pretty damn good.
It is, because there is a fact of very strong truth to it. But what I've learned through stepping into a teaching role, it's hard because you need to, like, I need to be there to give the kids, what they really need. However, if I'm coming from a place where I didn't get what I needed just by the given situations, I have to learn to be able to do that. And my practice has been all focused around that. Like this week, I had a beautiful moment with one of my students in which he's ADHD, and he has serious ADHD. And I put him next to the door, so you get anytime you can exit, right, if you need to. But I'm I'm training to be mindfulness meditation teacher, and I'm utilizing it, and it's all interwoven here, like just to feel my own experience. But I can finally tap into understanding, because I could easily do it with animals, but how the hell do you do it with humans? I don't trust humans.
You know what'll help is, I mean, getting into it now, really our sense of distrust around others is actually a distrust around our own experience. It's a preference. You don't want to feel the feeling of being taken advantage of. That's what is actually the subtext of that. So there are all these barriers of trust that have to be in place. It's not to say that there's anything wrong with any of that. It's more along the lines of, what is it that's so hard about that feeling? What's so bad about it? That's all. Because here's the thing, it doesn't really matter what you do or you don't do. We're really talking about a foundational relationship with something, with our truest nature. And if we have exclusivity around anything that is within our truest nature, then we know why we suffer, because we're rejecting.
Oh yeah, well, the rejection's a big one, because I reject the body.
So now, as you're like really digging into this, because it sounds like it's vivid for you, this is good enough. And you don't lay off the gas. You commit, you stay. No matter what the conditions are, you just make that full throated, complete, absolute commitment to the experience, and you will find more and more insight there.
Yeah, that is, well, it's funny that you put it that way, because even a nickname that I got from colleagues, a good friend of mine too, is Maverick. Because I will test things. I love to challenge myself, and I love to challenge others.
My only caveat here as a maverick is, don't be a maverick of conclusions and certainties. Be a maverick of the unknown. That's always arising right here. Truth is, can't tell you exactly. I mean, I definitely framed it at the beginning of this satsang, but can't tell you with certainty what the hell's going on. That would be disingenuous. So what we do is we play the game of the temporary, and you will find that you are seemingly unlimitedly adaptable. That's a gift. That's freedom. So what you start to discover is conditions and circumstances where that adaptability comes into question, and you will find where you are abandoning self. And what I mean by that is true nature. What you're made of, you're abandoning it. You don't have to do that anymore. And I'm being kind of careful here because I know I'm framing this in this word self. I don't mean it like there is a solid self. I just mean that the moment decides. We are the moment itself. Don't abandon the moment. Don't abandon the experience. And you'll see that you are suited for this. There's nothing actually different about you at all. Those are just thoughts. We are simply a spectrum of colors. And so maybe you are chartreuse. Cool, we need chartreuse.
Yeah, my face is pretty hot right now. That's all I have to say.
I appreciate
it's burning up. Like I can tell.
appreciate the way you're showing up. This, because this is good enough,
Yeah.
is a great momentum. It's stepping into something.
So there's that really, it's funny how fast, like it's hard to distinguish between, is it a thought or is it really the sense of body that comes up? Because it's when you just said, notice how you're showing up. Because I show up for others, others don't show up for me, or I challenge them. And of course, they don't like that.
Well, I guess that didn't happen this time because everyone is here for you right now, listening openly. So I guess the conditions don't always apply, do they?
No, they don't.
This is why the identity struggles, because there cannot be a permanent set of conditions.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's all impermanent. Like we don't know how this conversation is going. It's just unfolding. That I sense.
Yeah. Now feel it.
That all that takes place behind the eyes. Like I
Good.
can sense it in the
That's great.
face.
And now invite the rest. That's all. Wholeness. That's it. I see you are doing it. Your face doesn't get hot unless you are. You know what I mean?
Well, that I think that's just like going through the sense sphere.
Yeah, but look, you're doing it. I don't see someone doing everything they can to bail right now. Peekaboo. Can you own that too? Can you own what's going well? Can you own what works? Own it all.
That's hard to do.
Ah,
That I've recently encountered with the golden shadow, which is when
totally.
people reflect back what you are basically the better elements that you don't see yourself. And that's hard to take in. I've noticed how hard that is for me to take in.
You don't kick a horse for being a horse. Sorry for the analogy, Rachel. In other words, you are what you are, my friend. Done. Nothing to change, nothing to fix, nothing to improve. You are made of star stuff. Peekaboo. Good enough. Nothing to evaluate. There's really no point of comparison. We have to imagine these things. Nothing in a system can be measured by something within the same system. If I have a piece of lumber and I want to make a shelf, I use a tape measure, which is something outside of that piece of lumber, to compare it to. What's outside of this?
Yeah, we're back to like that's deep conditioning, because you nail it right there with the comparative mind. So there is a deep aspect which I'm currently working at a deep level with unconditioning that, but it was unnaturally developed given my environment as a child.
Yes, it was. And guess what? The best way to engage with that, to decondition it, you got to feel it. That's it. Which means golden shadow or the dark stuff. Feel
Just
it
doing
in
this shit.
legitimately. You're not going to think yourself out of the box of thinking ever.
No, that's not. Yeah, that's
And I'm not
absolutely.
saying you're doing that, but this is the most direct approach because it's in our face all the time. And we start to see that everything we do predicates itself on a co-opted sensation. Everything, everything, everything we do. Until it's just pure intuition. Then motion is motion, no one doing it. The heart beats. Creativity flows. And I commend you for stepping into that, challenging it, because that's the whole point. If there is an agency at all, let that agent be the one of attention, bringing attention into sensation and taking the actions that seem opposed to the predicate nature of the mind. Challenge the mind, challenge the conditioning, and something will show up, usually something felt. And peekaboo. We do it rinse, repeat, never ending, rinse, repeat, never ending, eternal, eternal, eternal. And before you realize it, you don't need an end.
Yeah, because then that goes back to like, it seems like effort, but it's not effort after a while.
Isn't that strange? That is the paradox of effort.
It's exactly it. Yeah. And
That's
that's a hard thing I've noticed to teach with my students.
Yes, and that's also a pointing to effort, which people can bypass the nature of engagement because they're monitoring what is effortful and not.
Shit. Yeah, that's exactly it.
Let it show you. You'll actually know what's effortful or not organically. In the meantime, engagement is engagement. And we all actually know because it's right in front of our face all the time. It's right here. It's obvious. Nothing is hidden. It can seem that way, but it's not. You feel it. There's no doubt. And, you know,
Yep.
let the breadcrumbs kind of unfold. Sometimes it shows up in varying flavors. So what? We just follow along, and we start to see that immediacy in the moment is really let the moment decide. Powerful way to live. Scary at first, but we find, especially if we play in the smaller areas, the low stakes scenarios of our existence, that it's not so hard. And then before we know it, we're not deciding at the restaurant to choose what meal, and then we're not deciding our next choice in life because there's something that's already has a momentum in a certain way, and we just say, okay, yes. And it's so elegant, so free, it's so gentle, shockingly. It's like, did I just hop timelines? Did I jump from a dark dimension into something that's like easy? I don't know. My sense is that the constraints of the aperture of a mind loosened so completely that reality revealed itself for what it actually is versus what something wants it to be. But it's really tough to say. I can't be certain about that either.
Thank you. That was very good. Yes. Thank you all.
Nice to see you. Thank you for stepping up and beautiful stuff. Truly appreciate you.
Thank you.
Any other pressing questions? I feel grateful for the direction that this satsang has taken. It felt very human. It felt very it just felt extremely authentic. And that's it's just such an incredible experience when it does this. This is apparently what we need right now. So that's what we do. It's what's showing up. I'm all for it. Sarah.
Hey,
Hey.
I'll just follow this same thread here. So yeah, so basically, are you saying that the more I commit to my authentic expression, however that is in the moment, that is going to be the awakening?
Yes.
Okay. So let me just tell a very brief story, kind of connected to Rachel's story. With ironically, Rachel, it involves my sister, whose name is Rachel. But anyway, so we were just organically texting group text Thanksgiving drama stuff. And I wasn't really thinking about it. I mean, I was just like, in the moment. I guess I was kind of like, okay, I'm going to commit. I'm going to commit to being authentic. And then it evolved into this whole thing. And I ended up like saying all this stuff to her because she wants Thanksgiving to be all about her boyfriend. And I ended up saying, well, what about Nana? What about Emily? Like all these other people that are involved. And then the texting stopped and she stopped responding and everybody just kind of stopped. And sure enough, a few hours later I started to feel like so bad, like, oh my god, like the compassion stuff, you know like I hurt Rachel, like what did I do wrong? Let me just go and tell her she can have it however she wants Thanksgiving to be. And I didn't act on it, but so I'm just like noticing that. And I guess I'm just really seeing what you're saying, that that is the self-abandonment, because I'm like putting the compassion onto her. Is that?
It's yes, in a way. I want to be careful by making a rule of thumb. If we create too much of a formulaic approach to this, we're just going to end up in the same position. Ultimately, in the moment, there's something that is happening, something that just feels authentic and true for us. This isn't a way to mitigate or prevent mistakes as we see mistakes. Instead, this is about recognizing what's absolutely authentically honest for us in the moment and engaging with that as entirely as possible. So maybe that's what's going on. But I want to be careful with saying that, well, I got to overcorrect and turn the other way and not be receptive in certain regards too. So there's an oscillation that takes place here. But what I will say is this: if you can picture yourself as a young girl and just sit with like what it was like to be young and innocent and free at any point, if you have any recollection of that, and to sit with the feelings and the experiences that come along with that, you'll start to see where we were constantly pinned against what felt natural for us and what was being presented to us that made us feel like we were wrong or bad or unloved. And so we started self-sacrificing in order to get the affections of our caretakers to feel nurtured. And that became a way of existence.
Yeah.
That's basically what the entire identity is. So my
Yeah.
real recommendation is if it gets messy, let it get messy and just keep going, and it will start to somehow become more elegant and refined. But it does sound like that secondary piece that was coming in, it does sound like that was attempting to um, create a sense of abandonment there.
That's what I think, because I was like, if I could have stayed with it instead of like focusing on her, because then it was like, oh, is Rachel okay? And blah blah blah. I think it's just like fear. Like I don't know what's gonna happen.
That's exactly what I picked up too. I felt I felt what most people refer to as fear. What I can tell you is when you've developed an absolute relationship with that sensation, you will only see it as freedom.
Okay. And I won't have to worry about
Don't fix it.
what no fixing. Okay.
And look, it's okay to get messy. It's probably going to get messy, especially in these family dynamics, right? Which means you actually, there might be mistakes made, relatively speaking. And then you get really good at genuine apology because you still own your experience and you still also own that I don't want to hurt anybody, but I don't have to sacrifice myself all the time.
Yeah, that's where it gets tricky.
It starts to work out pretty well.
Okay.
It's really when we actually see underneath the surface of whatever seems to be a conflict, all we really want is to roll around in a field and share snacks. That's it. But under the surface, at the surface of a conflict, you will find thoughts, beliefs, motivations, agendas, all these like little micro controls. And people will die for these things because they think it protects them from some kind of demise. Like the feeling of fear can be so profound for people that they become easy to control.
That's me. I kind of feel like that's me.
That's why this venue also, there's a caveat with, of course, with working with someone that you refer to as a teacher or a guru or anything, is the most important aspect of working with someone is if they're willing to take feedback and be wrong about everything. Because I am willing to be wrong about everything. Your experience speaks for itself, and that's all that seems to matter. It also kind of brings up questions around the essence of a community. A community with an agenda is an inauthentic. A community that is inherent because people are true to themselves, that's authentic.
Yeah. That controlling and the fear, that just kind of connected some dots.
Fear is such a visceral experience that most people will do anything to move away from it. But you aren't that person because you're here. And this is the ultimate discovery. What if that was just the feeling of freedom and it's just being misconstrued? It seems to live at the base of every human experience, something that we would probably refer to as fear. But it's like the infinite expansion of what we could just call a quantum soup, I guess. Reality that doesn't actually have any particular form until there's one there to view it as form. So you're just going quantum. When you feel fear, you're going quantum. You're going into pure consciousness. And that's your signal. It's saying, hey, remember me? You can call it God, whatever you want, but you feel it.
Yeah, and that's like my sovereign. That's my power. That's it.
Of course it is, especially if you're touching it all the time. As long as you're not editing the experience, then you are true. And like I said, I'm putting this into words, but there is no outside measurement. There is only what is known and immediately, and that is what we could call integrity. You know it anyway. You just do. You probably can't even explain how you know it. That's how it works. But you know it.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
Of course. I got some snacks for you too. Wow. Oh, is it? I always mess up your name. Is it Queen?
You can call me Quinn.
Just
but-
Quinn.
Yeah.
It's Quinn. Hi.
Hi.
Wow, you're joining us from a beautiful waterfall.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. You're welcome. Oh, so fuck. Um, yeah. Hi. I don't have any questions in my mind, but I really want to show up because I feel a lot of fear. Um, uh, yeah, and I I'm feeling like I'm showing up in a way that I don't show up normally before. I just talk a lot like right now. And I think uh this is more of my truth, and it's very scary. Um yeah. And yeah. Yeah, just that. And then there's a story about like, okay, normally I would think more before I speak, that kind of thing. And then now I'm like, whatever, I'm like, I'm a mess, blah 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 blah, that kind of thing. Yeah. And
Awesome.
I just want to do that.
That's
That's it.
great.
Yeah.
Life is improv. It's great improv.
Okay.
And my experience of you, by the way, is immediately accepted.
I have no idea what that means, but
It's
Yeah.
easy to be with you just like this without any agenda or question or well thought out anything. This is good enough.
okay. I know, so fucking scary, but good enough. Yes, for sure.
Now can you be with that feeling and still engage in this way all the time?
Yes.
It's up to you to experiment, I guess. But this is a hell of a start.
Okay. Cool. Thank you.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you. Fuck. Hi. Hi, everyone. I didn't mean to fuck, but yes, I do. Bye.
Say whatever you want, man. There's no language rules here. Just a reminder. It is so nice to see all your faces. Man, thank you. Mm. Wow. I the tone of this satsang has been wonderful. Just a reminder, just bringing that back up. I know oftentimes when we're in the realm of non-duality, it can kind of have like a more cold or I don't even know how to put it, almost like a scientific approach to it. But I'm discovering more and more working with people how crucial the tenderness in the human experience can be as well. Because this, after all, seems to be a human experience. Nonetheless, we don't need to reject anything. And even if I don't know what I am, I don't have to reject what appears to be a human either. Quite a paradox. Garrett, what's up?
Hey.
Hi.
I've been kind of like working with this inquiry, I guess, lately, of like feeling sensations and asking like, how do I even know that I don't like this?
I like it.
Like right now my heart is racing, and like there may have been kind of like a story in the past that like, oh, this needs to go away, or this that I like it's unpleasant even, but like from the sensation itself, like I don't know that. It doesn't have that quality of liking or not liking.
Love it.
It's really just like alive.
Good way to put it. Yes. Your answer is yes.
Yeah. It's like, it feels right now almost more like the same thing that was interpreted as like fear or heart racing. It's like a warm, like pulsating massage. It's like fast and uh vibrant, but there's nothing like wrong with it. It's just like boom, 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 boom. Like just that. It's kind
I,
of cool.
that kind of curious engagement right there, just the allowance for it to be what it is, starts to reveal itself in these very kind of profound or sweet ways. That's good enough. I mean, really, it's that simple. That's it. And sometimes that'll like present something else, little breadcrumb of some sort. Sometimes that experience leads to something that feels maybe more dense or personal, and then
Mhm.
it's rinse repeat, my friend.
Yeah.
Same essence. That's just an intuitive, natural, organic exploration.
Yeah, it's starting to become like more enjoyable, I guess, this exploration. It's like kind of yeah, it's exploration. It's where does this go next? I don't know.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Maybe
it's kind of fun.
maybe all of this is that way.
Yeah.
Maybe. I will say it's very viscerally like that. I would just propose it as a day-to-day basis. Where's this going to go? It's an energy of curiosity there. And man, does it always, it never disappoints, that's for sure. Always new. Always new.
Hmm.
I've had somebody ask me recently, if you had when's the last time you had a bad day, or, how often do you have bad days? And I'm just like, man, that would be like a hard conclusion around something that is so varied. It would be actually really cheap way to put anything, a bad day.
Yeah, yeah. I have like at work, uh sometimes I get like pretty unpleasant encounters, I guess, or
Sure.
what can be labeled that. And then like 'cause I do a lot of driving for my job, so I'll like leave like a particular space and then I'm in my car and like the leaves right now are so like wow, and it's just like gone. It's like there's no trace.
There
It's
you go.
yeah, it's there's no need to like carry it.
It's that right there is a really good way to talk about commitment to the immediate, because if we are committed to the immediate, we can't have a trace because something new now, gone. something new again, gone, something new again. It seems to be that way with everything. So it's a great share.
Mhm. Yeah.
I really appreciate the way you worded that. Feels organic.
Mm.
And then once again, and who's to say, but sometimes it seems like we encounter things that seem dense. And I can pretty much guarantee you that if it has a density in any level of consistency, then identity has chosen that condition to hide in, essentially. So
Yeah.
if there's any density there that keeps showing up, be willing to intrepidly explore in the same way. That's all. And sometimes the way that feels can be inconvenient for a managing mind, but that's the way this seems to go. It's the signal. It's an unmistakable signal of, look here. You feel it. And maybe nothing shows up. I mean, leave it open. Go home for the holidays. Get a romantic partner. Keep mixing it up.
Yeah.
Get a puppy.
Ooh.
That can wake stuff up for people sometimes, but you know what I mean. You get to live all the way.
Yeah. Cool. Thanks, Josh.
Appreciate that. Thank you for sharing all that. It's wonderful. Well, does anybody else have anything they want to get into? Oh, Michael. Go ahead, Michael. You might be on mute still.
It's so amazing to hear all these reflections, and um, this feeling is here, like all facets of a diamond, and I think part of it's amplified by folks who resonate with what you say and do, Josh. But it's just so unifying to hear and feel those aspects of experience coming from so many other selves. The grief, the puppy. I mean, it's and something really something that transcends our embodied experience is whispering, in a sense, even though we're embodied and having this physical experience. There's something that remembers and reminds, and it's just so beautiful to hear how it's so easy for me in this group, to feel through Francisco's tears. A year ago I was right there, or the loss of an animal that one's close to, but from this perspective, to be able to hear it and reflect on it, as opposed to be absolutely consumed by it. And I also want to recognize how important the pointing out is that you do, how important it was for me, this constant bringing back to the present moment as it is, and looking and being with what's coming up. Garrett said some just fabulous things that just resonated so well for me about how that all seems to operate. So that's just a rambling echo, I guess, back to all of you, that it's incredible to hear and feel what's so present for me and so many others, all over the world, I guess. And it's just an incredible thing.
Yeah, there is a realization that definitely came up where awakening at first seemed like it was very isolated. And then it became really obvious that this isn't us. It is an us. There really is no one else. Every human experience lives right here. That is such a powerful insight because it's what transcends the avatar. It's what namaste is made out of.
Mm,
And there is
yeah,
so much namaste here.
yeah, absolutely that.
This is the benefit of satsang, by the way. It's the container that reminds us. It's another peekaboo. And really, it seems like this path, since the truth is, every one of you is already awake, always has been, but there's a mind that hasn't come to terms with that. So, what we're really doing is having the mind come to terms with being the mind. And believe it or not, it's pretty fair. It tends to go, oh, damn it. And then it relegates itself to something more akin to an elegant assistant instead of a perpetual asshole. It's just evidence that this isn't us. This is a we, that really there is no other. And I really appreciate your sharing in that regard because I was definitely, the essence of that has been juicy today. Yeah. It can feel alone, no doubt, but you're never alone.
Well, there's a kind of a strange, maybe ironic aspect to doing this kind of work is it can feel like you're alone and overwhelmed by the fear, the tears, the anxiety. I didn't even have a good word for it when I was in the middle of it. I just ended up calling it the taint. And it's a word that stuck. But working, engaging, right? Engaging
That's it.
and remaining in that engagement. It was always a bit of a tease for me. You gave me 3 words, kind of like approach, engage, reconcile. And I always kept saying, when do I get to the reconcile part? It's another aspect of this sharing that is just so commonly felt is, okay, reconcile means it's almost over, and there was a beautiful aspect to that engagement where it transcended the felt sense of suffering here and became a felt sense of suffering for all.
That's it. That's compassion. It felt like I was shouldering all of the sadness of all of mankind since the dawn of time. It was insurmountable. It was crying so hard that bones wanted to shatter. And you were still well suited for such experience.
Yeah.
That is kind of what the reconciliation starts to look like, in fact. And then you start to see that the approaching, the engaging, the reconciliation, all the same somehow.
Yeah, Garrett pointed to that too. And you mentioned it. There's times when there's this overwhelming sense of tears, and then the laughing comes, and you're just sitting there going, "What's the difference between these two things?" They don't even seem like opposite ends of a spectrum. They just seem blurred.
Yeah. Seamless transitions in the quantum soup.
Mm.
Powerful, man.
Yeah, thank you all.
Thank you. Jennifer.
Hi, everybody. Josh, that's a cool background. I love it.
Oh, it's great in here. It's just this
Yeah.
floating, ethereal, 90s colored universe.
I just want to express my gratitude. That's all. for everybody here, for you and everybody participating and just being here. I can really feel your love. It feels like you guys are hugging me. So I just want to give that back to you. I love you guys.
Thank you. That's so nice. Big hug. Don't quit. Keep going. See what you're made of. This mind cannot contain you. It does a decent job attempting to model, but it's limited for sure. What is a fourth dimensional consciousness really like? Well, it shows up with a lot of paradoxes for sure. So embrace that hypocrisy too. That's love. Francisco.
Hey again.
Hello.
When you mentioned the crying so hard that bones wanted to break, I really felt that.
Yeah.
And there's a part of me that knows that's where I need to go. And there's a part of me that's really fucking afraid
Get it?
that like I don't, and it's not even like a fear of dying because I don't, at least physically, because I don't think that would kill me. But but I also don't know. Uh,
Don't want to say too much because of how this is showing up for you, but here's how.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
there's a point in all of our lives where we just kind of are no longer afraid of at least the concept of death, but the
Mm.
experience of dying still seems to be something that we're just like, nah. And what I will say is the depths of realization seem to be indecipherable from physical death. I'm sorry that I have to be this honest with you. I
Mm.
I did die.
Mm.
Maybe I did.
That's what it feels like. Huh.
It's unmistakable. You don't get an insurance plan. It is the absolute unknown. And the mind will say, well, don't go there. Don't go to the unknown. And then you go, well, how do you know?
Yeah,
It wants a contingency plan where it cannot have a contingency plan.
that deductible just sounds insane. Mm.
Definitely. And this is also why
Mm.
it's really common for people who are right where you are or anywhere along this path to have this sense of, I'm losing my fucking mind.
Mm.
But you're not. You're just coming into wholeness. If you have any sense of
Hmm.
with the words that come out of this mouth, I have died so many times. The first time's always the hardest. And look,
Mm.
still seems to be an animated. The red ape curries social favor.
I don't know. You could just be an AI. The real Josh is
Good
on the
point.
floor somewhere.
Yeah. Real Josh has been dead for a long time.
Yeah. Yeah, and I feel like the losing my mind bit, I don't that hasn't really occurred to me, but I the flavor of that is kind of like the messiness that you described, right? That the real authentic Francisco is so much infinitely messier than I ever could have imagined. And that's where it's just like, oh, that's like possible, okay, enough. Like it's like And then it is like, oh, I did that and I didn't die. Okay, I guess I'll just keep going.
Only one way to know, and your answer is yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I,
Ugh.
that's the point. You know, the essence of bodhisattva in the Buddhist tradition is a bodhisattva is essentially one who makes a sacrifice, one who puts off their full enlightenment to share it with the rest of mankind. But even after that definition, no, wouldn't want it any other way. We were all destined for bodhisattva. You were just a powerful example for all humankind. There's a great emergence that seems to be happening. I don't know how else to put it. This is like we're reaching some kind of threshold, like a critical mass. People are really waking up in a variety of ways. But it also, if we look at the world, you know, in general, it looks like it's going the other direction. It seems to be this way. It's like a sneeze. You feel the buildup, and then maybe you get the payoff. They say that certain advanced technology is indecipherable from magic. I will reframe that into the experience of consciousness. Losing your mind is really what you want anyway. But it's not what you think it is, that's for sure. And to be really real, I've worked with a lot of people, and I've seen the aspects of DPDR with certain people. And one thing I have always found is if we were constantly taking honest stock of our own experience, it just works itself out, man. It just does. But if there's anything there that's going to fight to the death, then you got to be with that too. But you are suited for this. This is the package you purchased. Read the fine print next time.
I don't know. I don't remember ever buying this.
I know.
But I just kind of woke up one day and was like, oh, okay.
That's part of the package.
Some other Francisco bought this. I don't know what that guy was thinking. Well, fuck. That came from a little part of me that was hoping that you would offer something else.
Oh, you want a way out?
Yeah, well, no, I think there's the relief there too, but there was also just that the little death of like damn it, okay.
Again, everything that you've expressed is more than valid. It reeks of honesty. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks, Josh.
Yeah, man. Draco?
Yeah, with that, it's like if it'd be okay, if I can share, but I don't know. It's rather dark, but there's light within it, because Francisco, what you just brought up really connected with an experience I've lived through, and it binds in with Rachel's grief, fear, and definitely death and vulnerability. So my last long-term relationship, it finished in 2017, but she pushed me away. And it really took me, it's like, wow, it's all about me. It was like, I'm not good enough. But in 2023, I got back from a breathwork retreat and school had just started. And I get word through a Facebook message, I'm from a friend, sorry to hear, but so-and-so, she passed away. It's like, what are you talking about? And I looked up obituary and read it, and it was like, found out she had taken her own life. And one thing it took several months later, I spoke to one of her best friends, and what came up, what I already knew, but I was able to talk with her about it, was she could never be vulnerable. She had a very difficult time being vulnerable just due to her life circumstances. So I understood that. And she did it in a way that I could, yeah, I don't know the details. I don't need to. But talking with her friend, the vulnerability aspect is that fear is really strong. Like even talking about it, like going through it right now, because I haven't openly talked about this very much. And it's really weird experiences where like I still have tea with her occasionally. So I have a little picture and I use it and have tea sessions. But recently it's more like I've had like get pissed with her because you quit. There is an aspect of my own story that's like you quit.
Sounds like a part of grief.
Yeah.
Anger is also valid, of course. When that arises, are there things that you do to mitigate it? Are there things that you do to edit the experience? And that's just what you look for. And if not, how far can you go? Make no mistake, this is about the extremes of our experience.
Oh, I like extremes. I love them. If anybody knows it, that's what people will reflect back.
Yeah. Because once you cross the threshold of what you know or what you think you are made of, peekaboo.
Yeah, all of this then is that it brought up that like how so much of today was talking about death, vulnerability, fear, and that there is so much of that, and it is really just how we've conditioned ourselves. And
yeah,
our environment has conditioned it. Really,
it's mutual conditioning, but there is a certain point where we basically kind of take on Stockholm syndrome, where we fall in love with our captor. We start basically conditioning ourselves or reifying our conditions because we think that our conditions keep us safe. Our conditions are familiar. Our conditions are comfortable. But if that is any indication of anything, then we'll start to pay attention to the nature of familiarity, comfort, our requirements around stability, whatever that may be, and it will show you something that it's a narcotic. It's a disassociation taking place. There is something called being comfortably uncomfortable. I don't know how else to put it, but never that checked out, not feeling anymore. It's always there. But that's also completely, perfectly okay. Sometimes more intense than others. So what? Safety doesn't exist. It's a construct.
oh, I like that one from Gabor. It's safety is not about the lack of threat. It's about the ability, possibility of connection.
This is your opportunity.
Yeah.
Always presented.
And it's finding those spaces or creating those spaces for safety, which is really ultimately connection.
I'm just going to slightly reform that. There is no space that isn't the case. Live that way. This isn't about constantly modifying our environment to suit a limited identity. This is about realizing your infinite potential for experience, which means you can be with anything as it is. And don't get me wrong, titrating in, having something where we can start to get into like the nature of boundaries are this way, giving us a little room to move in so that we're not having major swings in survival mechanisms can be useful, but we also let that go. Everything is temporary. And we eventually find ourselves in an airport feeling safe as apple pie. Or I don't even know what I'm saying, but that's just what comes out of the mouth. Safe as apple pie. Please quote that. That's going to be on the Cohen card. You're as safe as apple pie. But that's it. Don't rely on the conditions. At the same time, it makes sense that some of these things feel like requirements. Hold them loosely. That's all.
All right, thank you.
It often feels like being naked in public. If you were to ask my girlfriend what that's like, she's like, it's really hard to go shopping with this guy. Because it just, whatever comes out, comes out. I saw the quote, Tia. That's so funny. Okay, well, wow. I think we're coming to a close, everyone. Thank you so very much for sharing this space. There definitely was something really powerful going on here today. So all of you were absolutely necessary for that. And I just wanted to remind you of how grateful I am to just be a part of this, actually. And let's do this more often. Maybe we'll put one together in December, and we can meet again and maybe get into some more things. I appreciate you all so much. I'm going to leave you with an insight that came up that you could just possibly play with. It says, what if the feeling of identifying is what most people call reality? Who knows? Seemed like appropriate to share. All right, then. I'll leave it open for a little bit, but thank you all so very much. And I will talk to you soon. Bye.